by Chicken and Pickle. Good food, good friends, great fun. Also brought to you by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. And by Credit Human, the official credit union of the UTSA Roadrunners. Now, with head coach Jeff Traylor, here's the voice of the Roadrunners, Andy Everett.
And welcome to Chicken and Pickle, and welcome to week 2 of the Jeff Traylor Radio Show. Thank you for being with us today in person out here, or perhaps wherever you're listening around the world. It is brought to you by UT Health San Antonio, the official healthcare partner of UTSA Athletics. Jeff Traylor joins us. You've had some cooler weather this week. You had a practice in the Dome because of the rain yesterday. How are things after the win last week against Kennesaw?
Well, we're grateful to the Alamo Dome. It was very kind of those guys to get us in on the last moment's notice, and Andrew did a good job of getting the buses put together and the police escort and all the things that go on behind the scenes that people don't really realize for college football. All those people put all that stuff into action. Appreciate Steve Zito and all those people that got it done for us. Got a really good practice. A little late to tutorials, a little late to class, but we hope our professors will cut us some grace.
Yeah, weather got in the way a little bit. All right, after watching the film of the Kennesaw game, what did you see that maybe you didn't see when watching it live? Were you more pleased, less pleased? How do you grade that?
I had it pretty summed up after the game, which is not common, but defensively we're pretty much perfect, except for we turned the running back loose once, had a missed tackle. We turned the tight end loose once. I thought the play by Jimmy Wyrick in the fourth quarter was probably the play of the game, recovered by Stitch Dumas. The emotional penalties at the end were disappointing on defense. We got to get that cleaned up. That was the only negative I give to those guys. Offensively, we started off like gangbusters, but we had 46 snaps in the first half, and I just think conditioning played a play in it. And I believe that Kennesaw had a lot to do with it. Pre-snap penalties, holding penalties. Whether I agree with them or not, they were still called. Then special teams, our specialists didn't play real well, which is not like them because they're all good players. Obviously, our punter is new, but our kicker is a veteran who's really good. Our punt returns are a veteran who's really good. And we were disappointed that we didn't play better there.
How do you clean up the dead ball penalties? Is that just checking your motion?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that some of that has to do with we've been hitting each other since spring, summer, fall camp, same people, aggravated, tired, excited for, I hate to say fresh meat. That might be too strong to come across, but we were just emotional. The Alamo Dome's rocking. We were frustrated, and we just got to be better than that. Those are all excuses, but you asked the question, Andy, so I answered the best I could.
There you go. Fourth quarter, the Jimmy Wyrick turnover, you mentioned that. Take us through what he did well and how he read that to make the play, and a new player that we are seeing for the first time this year.
Yeah, they've done a good job of going FIB formation, which means formation into the boundary. So there were trips into the boundary quite a bit, putting the single to the field, which creates a lot of space out there. And because we were loaded up so heavy in the box for their option game, they always had one-on-one to the field, and they did a really good job of, I don't want to say exploiting that, but taking advantage of something we were giving them. And they completed another one out there, and Jimmy just did a great job running the ball. Very physical tackle. Ball came out, and Stitch did a good job of recovering it. And I think that was the play of the game. Honestly, you hate to ever get too into that kind of stuff because that makes it seem like some plays are more important than others. But how about Elliott Davidson if he doesn't run down the guy when he's turned loose and makes a tackle, touchdown-saving tackle on the 11-yard line? You can start, deciphering a lot of plays or the play of the game, but that would probably be the one that would stand out, I would say.
Well, the good news is you don't have to play an option team until Army, so you've got 10 weeks before we have to worry about that again.
Yeah, it's just such a non-conventional way to play football. Our guys did a really good job, and couldn't be more proud of them.
Let's talk about the first 3 drives of the game. Devin McEwen had some big catches. You got Robert Henry out in the flat. Nobody was near him. Good execution on those first 3 drives.
Yeah, it was. It's about as good as you could start. And hope y'all enjoyed that because the rest of it was pretty painful to watch. But, yeah, we got off to a great start.
All right, let's talk about the fact that you played 6 running backs. I know that you wanted to give everybody a chance to see what they could do. How do you look at that going forward?
I mean, I think it hurt us just because we couldn't get anybody to a real rhythm. But we wanted those guys to have their chance. You know, we wanted to get to play in the game so they could show us some stuff. And the protection issues, I believe, were that. For us to turn a sound fire loose to the field, for us to turn a wheel plug loose into the boundary, those are pretty generic protections. Now, they got us on an empty formation where they brought a great pressure to the field. We didn't give Owen good answers. That's on me. They're all on me, honestly, but things that sometimes the other coach makes the call that's better than yours. So I would say you'd see 3 running backs this week, maybe 4, but not 6.
You had the wide receivers. A lot of wide receivers played as well. I look at Devin McEwen. I'm just from my eyes, and I'm not obviously a coach or anything, but just seems like he runs really good routes, knows where everybody's supposed to be. Probably learned a lot from Josh and Tyke last year.
Yeah, Devin's different. He's always been an old soul. I knew when we recruited him, he's just different. He's a high character. He's a high IQ. He's an exceptional athlete. He's strong. He's fast. You know, he's just a dream to coach. Anybody could coach Devin McEwen. But no doubt Josh was a good role model for him, and he learned a lot from watching him play.
We want to remind you that if the UTSA has an 8-point play this year, a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, it'll be an 8-point play thanks to Wayne Wright. Somebody's going to win $888, the official injury attorney of UTSA Athletics. We had several lucky winners last year. So go to the promotions page on the UTSA app and register to win your $888 today. Opening kickoff, Willie McCoy got a really good run back. Kind of got clotheslined about midfield, got a 15-yard penalty on that. Then they quit kicking it to him. So do you think you have a pretty good weapon there for teams that can't kick the ball into the end zone?
Yeah, Willie's a really good player. But Texas State's kicker, he kicks it 8 yards deep every time. So you might not get to see Willie bring one out this week.
And how do you decide who you put back there? When you went through the camp this year, how did you pick who you wanted to be your return guys?
We've got probably 4 or 5 that would be really good at it. And they were all watching Willie. And, of course, none of them were rooting against Willie. But they knew when he almost house-called that thing, they're like, well, we're not going to get a chance for a long time now. So they're probably right. We're going to be back there with Willie for a while.
Absolutely. And then Tate Sandell had a good game. It's something that people may not pay attention to, but he kicked it out of the end zone every time too.
Yeah, that's going to help. Now, their kick returner will bring it out. 21's their guy back there, and he's really good. He's their best running back, and he'll bring them out from 8 yards deep. So if he kicks it like he did last week, we'll still be covering kicks this week.
All right, you got Texas State. I know this is a hard game it's a rivalry game. The students and the fans love the fact that we're playing each other again. You've got a great friend that coaches. He's got a father figure that coaches for UTSA, obviously. But how do you emotionally play this week and deal with all that? Or you just tune it out?
I tune out the noise. I've got even my most ardent Jeff Traylor fans muted. I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to hear the good, the bad, the indifferent. I have to go to a cave, honestly, and just coach for the next 3.5 months. I've got great people. I've got Kyle, I've got Sean, I've got Mike that are all watching, let me know what's being said, if it's too out of line, to kind of get me, ready for press conferences. I don't need to be reading all that stuff. It just doesn't do any good. There's only so much time in a day, and you don't need to spend time on things you can't control, and I really can't control. And I've done this long enough, Andy. I already know what everybody's saying by the way we're playing. I mean, I'm already saying the same things to myself in the headsets. I don't need to hear from somebody up on the third row texting it or tweeting it. So
it's not like you're trying to not play well.
Well, the noise. So there's that. The thing with GJ and I now, that's different. Because of our relationship, and it's so unique. I would say he would consider me a mentor of his. He's one of my former players. I'm their coach forever. It's not like I'm just their coach for during the season or during their careers. I'm always their coach. So that's never going to change with G and I. But we would, if you got us both alone, we would tell you we'd rather not play. Like we even teased this week, like We just want to go to Whataburger. Each of us get a double meat cheeseburger, a milkshake. Y'all let us know how the game turns out, and we'll just let y'all.
Let the coordinators call the plays.
That'd be a lot better for me and him.
All right, we'll talk with a couple of players. Ken Robinson and Devin McEwen will join us in the next couple of segments. Texas Farm Bureau Insurance members get 2 free tickets to Roadrunners basketball and baseball games when you redeem online. Become a Texas Farm Bureau Insurance member and visit GoUTSA.com/TFB tickets to learn more and get tickets. It's the Jeff Traylor Radio Show on the UTSA Sports Network. Fans, you could win a brand new 2024 Nissan Frontier pickup truck in the Ansira Putt for a Pickup contest. Go to GoUTSA.com/promotions to register today when you could be one of 3 finalists on the field at the Temple game to putt to win a brand new truck courtesy of the Ansira family of dealerships and All-American Car Wash. Devin McEwen joins us. We were talking about him earlier. Let's see. You cannot hear? How about right there? How's that?
Attaboy,
All right,
Devin.
We got you going there.
It's kind of how our headsets were Saturday some, so we're used to that.
I mentioned earlier in the show, just watching you grow up and play, how much more confidence you look on the field. Talk about that a little bit and how you've kind of grown into that here at UTSA.
Yeah, my first year, I was just kind of like going through the motions, trying to feel my way out. You know, Josh was here, Taki was here, so I was kind of taking that backseat role. And now this year, I just got more comfortable and more confidence, and I just, just been working really hard. So
what did you take the most from Taki and Josh? What did they teach you when you were in your first year here?
You know, Josh, his football IQ is out of this world, so he taught me a lot of things with coverages and route recognition and stuff like that. And Taki just taught me how to just fight through adversity because he went through a lot, and he just kept going. So those guys taught me a lot.
And now you get to be a mentor to other wide receivers.
Right.
Talk about that role.
Right. We got a little freshman called Makai. He's my guy, so he'll be really good. He's hurt right now, but next couple of years you'll be hearing his name.
All right, Jeff, take us through the recruiting process for Devin. I know you are familiar with the Jacksonville area quite well, and how you got him to be a Roadrunner.
Well, I was there in the 90s, and I was, very young back then. And his mother and I, she was in school then, and I was teaching back then, so we knew each other and just their family. And there's so many people that I coach that he's kin to or he is coached by. We just had a lot of connections, and I know his parents really trust me. I know Devin trusts me. And it was just comfortable, and he could play for a lot of people. And nowadays they're still hitting him up. I can promise you, he's too good of a young man to give up all the schools that still hit him up. But he's worth it in the NIL world, which is very controversial. I understand it. He's a young man that anybody that invests in him, they'll be very glad they invested in somebody like Devin McEwen.
All right, take us through that recruiting process from your standpoint. What made you say yes to Jeff Traylor and yes to UTSA coming from Jacksonville?
My brother, he was getting recruited out of high school, so he was recruiting him as well. And, my family always just talked about Coach Traylor in a highly way. And as you said, we had connections all around Jacksonville. So I always heard highly of Coach Traylor, and heard he's a really stand-up guy. And as we started recruiting me, I could tell he was a really genuine guy, so I wanted to play for him.
All right, so how much did Mom influence this? Because Jeff obviously knew her from high school, so I'm sure she had some input.
Yeah. She wanted me to be a road runner. The only thing for her was a little far.
Yeah. It's about a 5-6 hour drive
about
to get
6
down
hour
here.
drive, so that's the only thing she was worried about.
Yeah. And you've had relationships, Jeff, all through East Texas. I mean, that's where you coached, that's where you grew up, that's where you lived, and to be able to have that pipeline, because there's so many good players there.
Yeah, my personality is so, let's just say, unique, I guess, in a way that those people back home, they know, like, this is who I've literally been my entire life. Like, I'm just a older version of that 23-year-old that was coaching and teaching his mother back then. I love people. I'm very authentic. I'm a very open book. And sometimes that comes across where people might think there's no way he's really that way. Well, those people have so many stories and so many years of things that might go on behind the scenes that the public might not know that come up. I say it all the time, like-minded people surround themselves with like-minded people. And the McEwens know who I am, and they know that I'm not going to always say things Devin actually loves, but I'm going to always do what's best for Devin and his future.
All right, let's take us through the wide receiver room. And you guys played a bunch of wide receivers in the Kennesaw game, but I thought some of the plays that you made, the touchdown to start the game, talk about that drive and the plays that everybody made, because I think we're turning into wide receiver you a little bit around here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have a loaded wide receiver core. We're really deep at that position. We have a lot of speed. We're really explosive at that position. And we got Owen McCown leading that position. So, we'll be really good.
Talk about Owen's performance this past weekend. I know a lot of people look at it as good, and how do you look at it from a player perspective? Because you obviously see more of the things that he does than other people do.
Yeah, I think he did really well for his first college start. He's only going to get better, so we'll be in good hands with Owen.
When you look at the goals of this team and how this team prepares, take us through a summer. What are you doing now as a college player that, okay, high school was this level, now college is a little bit more?
Yeah, college is a lot more hard work with class and just trying to balance everything. So, our off season is really hard. It's way harder than high school. So you just got to go in and grind and know why you're here.
How much weights did you lift now compared to when you were in high school?
I'm 10 times stronger now. Our strength coaches do a great job in the weight room. So, I've gotten a lot stronger and faster. So, yeah.
Jeff, I think one of the things that's cool, and having the chance to do 14 years now of UTSA football, is to watch players grow up. They come in as freshmen, and you see their talent, and then it gets better and better and better as they get to their fourth or fifth or sometimes seventh year. How do you see that as a mentor, as a father figure, a coach? I know you're kind of a parent sometimes as well.
Well, you can't do it without guys like Devin. Obviously, there's a maturation process when they start, but you know kind of who those old souls are, and he's got a real chance to develop a legacy here like Frank did, like Rashad did, like Cephas did, like Sincere did, Spencer Burford, some guys that stayed around for a long time and really changed an entire program. He has that type of legacy potential because of just the human that he is. And that had nothing to do with Jeff Traylor. I have tried to make him a better version of himself every day, but he came to me in really good moral standards, honesty, integrity, work ethic, toughness. He's from Beast, Texas, man. That's just how we cut.
That's
man.
how it works right over there, right?
Yeah.
All right, Devin, thanks so much for joining us. Continued success. Good luck this week and the rest of the year, and look forward to talking to you soon.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
All right, that's Devin McEwen, UTSA wide receiver. We'll talk with Ken Robinson coming up in the next segment as we roll on from Chicken and Pickle. It's the Jeff Traylor Radio Show on the UTSA Sports Network. weekend. 3 o'clock kickoff from San Marcos and Bobcat Stadium. We'll be on the air at 1 o'clock with the Credit Human pregame show. Every 2 seconds in the United States, someone needs blood, and every time you donate blood, you're saving up to 3 lives. Visit southtexasblood.org to schedule your donation, because when you give, they live. It's our opportunities to talk with Ken Robinson, UTSA safety, and back with us on the show tonight. Welcome to the program. Just pull that down just a little bit there. And Ken, take us. You got a good game on Saturday. You led the team in tackles. Take us through the game against Kennesaw.
Yeah, the game was good. Just a lot of preparation over the summer.
Move that a little bit closer there. Yeah,
closer.
Yeah, that works. A little bit up too. There we go.
Perfect.
Yeah, that works.
Cool. Yeah, just a lot of preparation over the summer. Getting new guys on the defense to buy into our culture. And Saturday showed. You know, it was a pretty good game on the defense. Just got to clean up some penalties on pre-snap and post-snap. But other than that, I feel like we played pretty good.
I talked to you about this before the game last week. In a way, you're doing things. You're kind of fulfilling the role of Rashad Wisdom, not necessarily as the player. You have that skill, but as a leader in that defensive backfield. Talk about that and how you learned from him.
Definitely. You know, there's no replacing a guy like Rashad Wisdom, you know, off the field or on the field. Great player, even better person. You know, I'm just trying to come in there with my style of leadership. It may not be as talkative, but I try to show it on the field, and I try to inspire teammates behind me to put in the same work that you should to win every day. So
how about having Elliott Davis next to you in that backfield too?
That definitely helps. Elliott is another guy like Rashad, great player, even better person. So whenever you have a safety teammate like that can help you lead the rest of the defense, it's always helpful.
Jeff, you've had Ken for a few years now and has had the opportunity to play him at corner and at safety, and adapts to whatever you need back there in that defensive backfield.
Yeah, Ken's an OG, man. He's one of my guys. We go back all the way to the very beginning. And you miss that in college football a lot nowadays, but we're very blessed. You start rattling off all the kids that have been here with me since we all started together. It's a pretty phenomenal list, and we're so blessed. It's what's going to hold us together this year, because you don't get that much in college football. I think it's going to separate us from people as the season moves on. Right now it's new. Everybody's loving ball. Everybody's loving. And come see me in about 6 weeks,
yeah.
And we'll see whose culture is still together and still holding strong. And guys like Ken, Oscar Cardenas, and Cyrus, I can go on, Ligon, we can go on and on and on. The guys that have been here forever, Danye, it's going to really matter for us as the season progresses. And Ken's one of the biggest ones for that. He's an unbelievable leader and human being, very much like Devin. He was born an old soul. I didn't have to do much with Ken since I've had him.
Ken, take us through a player perspective. When you got here, and you've gone through COVID, you've gone through seasons where you had a few people in the stands, you've gone through position changes, but this school and Jeff and this unit has developed a culture that no one wants to leave. Even when money's involved, you still don't want to leave.
Right.
Take us your perspective. How does that work? Because I think if you lined up 1,000 people and said, I'll give you money to go somewhere else, they would. And
right.
Nobody's doing that here, or very few.
Definitely. You know, from my perspective, my goal in college was to always start at an FBS team, in all honesty. And, you know, I got that chance to do that here at a very early time at UTSA. And, you know, I've had opportunities to go anywhere else, but whenever you have whatever you need where you're at, I mean, there's no point of leaving, as well as the culture that's been instilled with this team. You know, it's a lot like a family feel. And, you know, I hear across the nation that, you know, you don't get a lot of schools like that. So whenever I have a chance to fulfill my dream of starting at an FBS school and be around a family, it was just a double whammy, really.
We have a segment this year called USAA Honoring Our Heroes, and obviously our first responders and our teachers and things like that are being honored at games. Jeff and Ken, take us through some things that you're doing on the field, off the field, around the university that you're proud of, that makes you part of the legacy that we're building here at UTSA.
Yeah, just growing that fan base. You know, like you said, coming here in 2019, there wasn't a really large fan base for UTSA, and just helping cultivate that and helping that grow has been a big prideful point for me, as well as just engaging in the community and things like that. This past semester I did a food drive with a bunch of graduate students in my class, so I was able to help out with things like that. It's always good to give back.
And you hate doing it, but like, for example, Martin's and 2andinspired.org, they really want to make sure these kids are giving back to the community.
Right.
So here they are serving, and like he said, the food bank, or maybe it's a children's hospital, or maybe it's just going to speak at a public school or a private school, and you're telling them to put it on social media, and it seems very self-serving and narcissistic almost. But I have to teach them you're being examples for other people to give back to the community, and they do a fantastic job of serving in so many different ways.
All right, Ken, thanks so much for being with us. Great success. Glad to get to know you some more, and look forward to talking to you soon.
Thank you.
All right,
Nice job, Ken.
That's Ken Robinson. USA honors the heroes who serve in our military as the official military appreciation sponsor of UTSA. We'll have another segment coming up next week. Also coming up, Birds Up, Buds Up. Enjoy Bud Light while cheering on the Roadrunners. Bud Light is the official beer of UTSA Athletics. Birds Up, Buds Up all season long. From Chicken and Pickle this evening, as usual, and thank you for being part of it. This season, Roadrunner touchdowns meant more than 6 points for every touchdown UTSA scores at home. The Texas Animal Defense League will receive $1,000 thanks to North Park Subaru. Last season, North Park Subaru donated $27,000 to the Texas Animal Defense League thanks to 27 UTSA touchdowns. It's North Park Subaru's TDs for charity. All right, time to talk about Texas State and scout the opponent. And how do you look at this team? They're pretty good and pretty good offense as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's GJ's done a wonderful job. Their offensive coordinator, Matt Leftwich, has done a fantastic job. It starts with their quarterback. I mean, they've got the Sun Belt Conference Player of the Year, and he's surrounded by talent, everywhere. He's got 3 fantastic receivers, in 10 and 2. I also love the running back. I think he's as good as there is. We've played against this year in 21. And their line's massive. They play very, very fast. They have the ability to get the ball vertical quickly. They do a good job. Their RPO game as well. They're up-tempo. And there'll be a handful for our defense to stop. You want to talk about that enough, or you want to move on to something else?
Let's mention Jordan McLeod, their quarterback, South Florida transfer. I guess he was the Player of the Year last year, or South Alabama transfer. Anyway, he's a good player and has really lit up the scoreboard where he was before and last week too.
Yeah, he was at James Madison. Well, they had a fantastic season. As I said, Player of the Year. He's very accurate. He's played a lot of football. He's played a lot of snaps. He's just a really smooth operator. He's got a nice delivery. He's good with his feet. He can avoid contact and move. He's a really good football player, and their system, shows him off very good. The running back is really good as well, and obviously, as you know, about 10 and 2, they killed us last year, and they're both back again.
What's their defense like?
They're massive up front. Their down people are as good as we've gone against, and we had trouble last week, and they play a lot of them. But, I'm a big fan of number 33. He's out of Cedar Park High School, and he's a really good football player. As he played at Louisiana Tech before that, he was good for them then. And he'll give us trouble. 3 is a good ball player. 8's a good ball player. 0, who they got at UIW, is a really good defensive end. A couple of linebackers in there we like a lot. The nickel we like. Both safeties. And we recruited a lot of these kids, so we know these kids very well. Obviously they've got 1 corner is right out of Converse and 7, and then number 1 gave us fits last year. So, a lot of those, they're all back from last year. So the very team that took us to the very wire is all back, plus they added the Sun Belt Player of the Year. We've got quite a bit of our defense back, so we feel really good about there. We're a work in progress on offense, so it's going to be I understand why everybody's picking them. I really understand it. They remind me of us in 21 when we were, the new kids on the block. We were the darling of everybody's eye, and we had everybody returning. And that was fun. But since then, we've had a natural transformation of our roster of losing, approximately a third of your roster each year to graduation, which is more of a normal cycle of college football.
GJ last year got 53 players out of the transfer portal. A lot of schools, I think only Dion had more. So that got him a pretty good head start.
Yeah, they did it a different way. And I understand both of them. They took over programs. There's the rules. And they took advantage of the situation, and they did what they needed to do in their situation. We started before them, so ours wasn't built that way. But we've had our fair share of transfer portal kids as well. We've only lost, 3, and we've picked up, a nice number each year. And most of our kids we have a previous relationship with, as I'm sure GJ did too. I'm sure he knew a lot of these kids previously at other schools he might have recruited at when he was there. And that's just the way they've gone about it. And he's hit it. Like, GJ's really good at identifying talent. And these guys have all played a lot at their previous schools, and they come in here and played very well for him. And a lot of them came from UIW with him. So he's really crushed it.
I'm sure you coach players in high school that you realize, okay, when their playing day's over, they don't want anything to do with coaching. And GJ was probably one from the get-go that you were like, he's going to be a coach someday. How did you know? How do you know what those kind of players are and that they're going to end up being as good a coaches as he is?
Well, I'll tell you a story that most people don't know. We were very good GJ's senior year, and he could have been the all-time leading passer in the history of Texas high school football. But we were ahead by so much at the middle of every third quarter, I took him out of every game. And we had a young freshman named Stump Godfrey that was the future quarterback for Gilmer. And GJ never one time complained. He poured into Stump Godfrey and ended up costing GJ not being the all-time leading passer. But Stump Godfrey went on to have an unbelievable career. I think Stump might have been 46-2 in his 3 years at Gilmer. And GJ had a huge impact in that. Why am I telling the story? Well, that answers your question when I knew he was going to be a coach. But his father never said one word to me about pulling his son the third quarter. So GJ has seen a model from Gary Joe as his dad of being a high school coach and a really good coach who had a great career himself. And then he got to come play for me. So I just know that two people that were very formidable in his years were coaches. And I always knew it was made for G. And when he came to SMU and started coaching with us and then to Arkansas, it was only going to be a matter of time before this kid's going to be a star. And he's a star. I mean, he played in the National Football League. He's intelligent. He's good looking. He's young. He's great with kids. The kid can do it all. And one of these days I'm going to grow up and be just like him.
You said this week that he plays, Texas State plays like you guys did back at Gilmer.
Yeah, he has a lot more fun than I do, I can tell. I can promise you my EA rating for me as a player is nowhere near what G.J. Kinney's EA rating as a player. His player rating is higher than almost maybe everybody on our team. I'll have to check and see.
All right. It's time for the Goodwill Drive of the Game from last week. Goodwill of San Antonio takes your donations and turns them into careers, training, and education for those in need of fuels and fuels the San Antonio economy. Last play of the last drive of the game to kind of ice it, was that the drive of the game, or did you like those first three better?
Oh, it's a good question, Andy. I didn't really think about that one very much. That last one made me breathe a little better, but those first three were nice because we had worked on all that stuff and we had practiced it, and it went just about the way we had drawn it up, and then it got very frustrating. So I told them literally when the fourth quarter started, I called them over and I'm like, look, boys, we've dug ourselves into a mess here. We just got to get out of here now. No style points, nothing more than let's just get out of here with a W, and that's what the kids did.
Take us through the drive where Robert Henry caught the pass and nobody was near him, and he drove, went all the way down to the 6-yard line, and then you got to score a couple of plays later. Yeah,
that's the old Hal Mummy, Mike Leach play from back in the day, mesh. Every team in America runs mesh. And they turned the back loose. And we've done it before, too. As a matter of fact, go back into a history lesson here. The very first play as a head coach, Texas State ran that play on their boundary, and we turned the running back loose, and he went for a touchdown on the very first play. I'm thinking, wow, college football, this is going to be a lot of fun. And we turn right back around and run GT with Sincere, and we go probably 75 or 80 right back at them, which turned into one heck of a ball game that day, which was 5 years ago, which is mind-boggling.
It's crazy, and just go back and think of the missed extra point and the big lead in the fourth quarter, and then they come back and tie it. And there was so many things that happened in that game, you could never script that.
Another funny story. My son always wanted to be a coach too, and 5 years ago, Jordan was probably in his second year with the Saints, probably, and I took a knee right before overtime. We probably had a minute. 20 left, no timeouts, and I took 3 knees. And I remember Jordan just being furious, like, that's nothing like you in your career to take a knee when you had the ball to go score. And I remember telling Jordan, like, Jordan, we couldn't have gone 80 yards on air that day. We were so dead tired. We just need to get a 25-yard field and pray we can win on a short field.
Right.
And that's how tired we were at the end of that game. And he still reminds me of how terrible a job coaching that was of taking a knee instead of going to try to score. And I'm like, hey, big boy, when you put the head coach cap on one day, Dad's going to be critiquing. Don't worry.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a hot day. I mean, people were passing out in the stands, the sidelines, and everywhere else. It was pretty miserable day that day. All right, fans, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance members get 2 free tickets to Roadrunners football, men's basketball, and baseball games when you redeem online. Become a Texas Farm Bureau Insurance member and visit goutsa.com/TFB tickets. We'll wrap up the show coming up next as we continue from Chicken and Pickle on the UTSA Sports Network. The BMW One Lucky Fan will win the ultimate home game weekend at the Alamo Dome at our home finale against Temple on November 22nd. One Lucky Fan will get a luxurious stay at the historic Maverick Hotel downtown, 2 premium game tickets, a BMW prize pack, and dinner as they cruise the city in a gorgeous new electric BMW X7 SUV. Be sure to check out GoUTSA.com/promotions to register to win today. It's the BMW Ultimate Home Game Weekend. And save time after the game by ordering Taco Cabana online at TacoCabana.com on the MyTC loyalty app. Sign up for great rewards and exclusive offers only at TacoCabana.com. All right, we talked last week about the on-field communication. You didn't get a defensive penalty, so that was good. How did that work out for your coaches this week?
Coach Lelt did a great job of that. We basically made it where our EQ guy has the other green helmets for the defensive guys, and they can't get them unless they come through him. So we have a foolproof system, we think. Quarterbacks are a little easier just because we know there's not going to be very many of them. But those defensive guys, we rotate so much. It was very concerning to me that we'd have too many green dots out there. That worked fine. It was the iPads that got us, and it wasn't the fault of any ones. It's just working through new stuff. I honestly believe it might have been Kennesaw's side that wasn't working, so we had to shut them down on both sides. And I've just told my coaches for a while, we need to look at this as a bonus and not as a necessity.
Right.
And we need to have the attitude of the iPads are working. This is awesome. Not the iPads are not working. This is bad.
Right.
So I've tried to, until all the kinks get worked out, and I'm just afraid going to each stadium, there's probably going to be just some of these bugs we're going to work through for a while. And, so I would say it was as successful as could be, but my expectations were very low, to be very honest.
All right, we saw
I remember I'm a high school football coach.
Yeah.
Nothing ever worked.
Yeah, you didn't have TV timeouts when you were in high school. You just went and played.
Now we got a 2-minute warning as well, so let's just get crazier by the moment.
The 2-minute warning guy. I knew it was coming, but it still threw me off a little bit.
I'm with you.
All right, the tush push. We saw that a couple of times. New wrinkle in the offense?
No, we've done that before. It's just we didn't execute it just real good. We're not as good at it as they are, obviously. But
Travis or Jason Kelsey's a pretty good center.
And we executed both of them, but we just didn't do it as good as possible. But we'll be better at it this Saturday. We just got to get a little lower and get a little more comfortable doing it. It's one of those kind of plays it's hard to work live because it's such a play that has a lot of collisions, obviously, and a lot of low center of gravity going on. So we do that pretty much only in the game live.
He played 4 tight ends. Obviously, Oscar is always a good option, and he got the last touchdown for you. Houston Thomas, Dan Dishman, and we saw more of Patrick Overmeyer than ever before.
Yeah, we got a good room there. We like those guys. We like all of our rooms, but we take great pride in that position. I've said it before. I coached that position. Justin coached that position. Kurt coached that position. We all have a lot of tight end background experience. It's kind of been forgotten about in the modern offense, honestly, and this still gives us the ability to run the football, and we throw it to our guys more down the field than most tight end programs do. And when you got a tight end like Oscar, you'd be silly to not throwing the ball down the field.
I know you want to run the ball more efficiently and more effectively. Talk about the plan to be able to do that.
Well, some of that you can't do a lot about. There was some we couldn't do anything about, but there was some we could have. So they made their mind up. Young quarterback, they're going to make him throw the football to win the ball game. We still need to work some run schemes, so we called some plays that might not have been great runs, honestly. But in saying that, we've got to be better still. It doesn't matter. But there were some things they did schematically that hurt us, but there was some lack of execution on our part. I'll take some of that as the head coach for the plan not being as good as it probably should have been. But give Kennesaw a lot of credit for darn near saying you're going to throw the ball to beat us, and if you don't, you're not going to win today. And they did a great job.
And the few times that Owen needed to run, he did pretty efficiently and got a touchdown on one of them.
He's a way better athlete than people think that he is. And that was a called play. That's a play that we ran a ton with Frank. You probably won't see it as much with Owen, but it's a play we will run when needed.
All right, compare H-E-B prices in any store. They check and compare thousands of prices on the things you use to gear up for the game so you can fill up your cart without emptying your wallet. When it comes to UTSA football, no store does more than your H-E-B, a proud supporter of UTSA athletics. How's the health of the team going into week 2?
We had 16 on the list when the game was over. I'd say, less than a handful will not be able to play, but the rest of them, should be at practice tomorrow and be ready to go by Saturday.
All right, and let's start talking about some keys to the game, and how do you handle Texas State?
It always starts with our defense. Can you stop the tailback? He's really good. The quarterback's really good. 2 proven great receivers. They had another one a transfer in. So their line's massive. You're not going to stop those guys. Can you corral those guys? Offensively, can we clean up our messes from last week? Can we get our front ID'd better? Can we block movement better? Can our backs break a tackle? Is their back that much better than our backs? Special teams-wise, can our specialists get their stuff cleaned up? I fully expect them to do that. And that's going to be what the game is. If we don't take care of the road runners, it's not going to matter about Texas State. We've got to get our own stuff fixed.
When you look at the weather, you're going to get a little bit of a break. High 80s, not 105 like it was when we were there 4 years ago or 5 years ago or however long ago it was.
Yeah, let's say it's 87 on the temp. Texas humidity is going to feel like it's 100.
I think it's actually going to be a little bit lower. The humidity is going to be down a little bit.
Wow, that's keep talking to me, Andy. The turf will put it up 25. I don't care what scientific fact you got on that. That's not going to be a matter.
Well,
so it's going to be probably 115 on the turf, 118 on the turf.
Yeah.
And we're in the sun the whole day. Unless GJ is going to feel bad for his mentor and old ball coach and let me come over there in the shade and him stand in the sun the whole day. I don't think GJ is going to volunteer that.
Well, you did it for him. Last year you gave him plenty of shade, right?
I kept him comfortable the entire game. I need to bring that up, Andy. Thank you very much.
Just remind him of that. You get to come here next year and you get him 72-degree weather. How about giving us a little love?
I'm always taking care of him.
All right. Jeff, thanks as always. We'll look forward to the game this weekend and be back out here next week to get ready for Texas.
Appreciate you, Andy. God bless. Birds up.
All right. That's head coach Jeff Traylor. It's brought to you by UT San Antonio, the official healthcare partner of UTSA Athletics. See how UT Health San Antonio's brightest minds are making lives better at WeMakeLivesBetter.org. And our thanks to Chicken and Pickle. Good friends, great fun. That's Chicken and Pickle. Delicious food, cold drinks, yard games, and pickleball for all. Chicken and Pickle, UTSA Boulevard in Vance Jackson. Join us on Saturday. We'll be on the air with the Credit Human pregame show at 1. The kickoff just after 3 o'clock. And we'll look forward to see what happens with UTSA and Texas State coming up this weekend. My thanks to Shane Carter for producing today's program. Have a fantastic evening, and we'll see you Saturday from San Marcos. It's the